Good morning. A little crooked here, charging up my phone, so afterwards I'll straighten it out once it gets to a higher charge. I want to say good morning to everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Been an interesting week, like all the weeks have been. And when I think about things to discuss for the week, obviously everything that I'm speaking of resonates with me on a personal level as well. And good morning. And for me, it's an interesting time for me as well. And I mentioned this last week. When a person's going through the past, right? When we go through the past, when we look back on things, some of the memories that we've had resurface, right? But they don't only show up in the mind, but they show up also in the body. And there's always a cellular memory of things that took place, and when we really confront them, they somehow have a good way of reminding you of things. You know, the main concept is inevitably is forgiveness, and discussing forgiveness in the journeys, and I'm sure hearing other people discuss the topic of forgiveness is a difficult kind of concept to really grasp, because once we feel we've forgiven, there's times that we go back again and things resurface. And, you know, then we ask ourselves the question, have we really healed ourselves from certain things? I think inevitably it goes around in circles. But what I wanted to touch upon today was more so the fact that how our present lives that we're living in right now have an impact on, actually our past lives have an impact on the present moment that we're living in now. And although we've had things in the past take place to us in this body and in this lifetime, we also experience different lives that have existed, if you believe in the concept of reincarnation. I have a deep interest in it. On my YouTube channel, I interview many people who've had near-death experiences. I've had people who've had past life regressions. I myself have had a past life that I've discussed on different shows and different topics based on past lives themselves. The concept of reincarnation is a very interesting concept, right? In 543 AD, the Roman Emperor Justinian removed, after 500 years, the concept of reincarnation, which was in the Christian Orthodox doctrines. And so we get to see that certain things that existed or people believed in are actually relevant today, right? We have this desire, this need to learn about all the things that I'm discussing and that you hear about, right, throughout your journey on this path. And the concept of reincarnation is very interesting to me, because as I mentioned to you before, I had this past life feeling that had somehow integrated itself into this present life. And I assumed there were things that, as I mentioned before, that in this lifetime I need to work on and go back and forgive, as we all do. I was also brought back to a different time in another life and brought up with the issues of those lives that integrated themselves into this life. And sometimes as we go through this journey, we don't understand why we have certain fears that aren't rational. You know, like a generalized anxiety that people fall under. Sometimes people have this past life encounter, this past life experience that finds its way back again into our lives. And you see many children who discuss having had experiences where they mention to somebody that I remember you from this life. I remember you were my sister, or you were my brother, or you played a specific role in a past life, and it comes back where you have this deep passion or this deep interest in that particular era or subject that was not from this life, but from another life itself. And so many times we face different people in this life who have connections to other experiences we've had with them, and we've had to work on these different conflicts that once existed with them. So, you know, in Buddhism, it's known for reincarnation, right? You reincarnate and you go through different dharmas and different stages to improve your lot of climbing the ladder of enlightenment. And if we believe in the soul, right, as the driving force, right, for giving the the experience we have, the body's giving the soul its experience, working hand in hand with one another. But if you reflect on your own lives, and you look a little bit in this life and think about some of the experiences you have and the deep interests you have that nobody ever taught you, that nobody ever really discussed, then it becomes relevant for you to look perhaps at those aspects of yourself that may have come from a past life. So what I'd like to do today is I'd like to journey, unguided, into the lower realms, and perhaps you'll receive some information, just surrendering from any type of past life information that may come through from your guides or your spirit animals. And I think it's a relevant topic because as we go down the rabbit hole of information, the rabbit hole of expanding our consciousness, we come upon different tidbits of information that are relevant towards expanding our consciousness. And I find for sure that past lives, reincarnation, are such a relevant topic for us to better understand our soul, and to recognize that the body that we're living in right now, holding the soul as its container. We sometimes have to recall or maybe remember why we're here and what we're supposed to be doing, and not focus on the external and the materialistic or the outside of ourselves. So let's go on a journey to discover an aspect of a past life, or whatever information comes through, whatever information is sent to you or you're led to. So we'll journey to the cave. You'll come out of the cave and you will ask that question based upon past lives, however you want to word it. Just sit in the energy of that and see what information you receive. When we come back, when it's time to come back, I'll hit the drum 4 times, right? Then I'll speed up the drum. This way it's time to run back. You'll run back through the cave, come out of the cave, and then I'll hit the drum 4 more times, which means the journey is over, and then we'll come back into the room. All right? So what I'd like you to do is just take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take one more deep breath in and exhale. And let's go on our journey. Take a deep breath in. And out. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Move your fingers, move your toes. Move your body. And when you're ready, come back into the room and join us. Okay. Maybe you could just share in the comments section if you received any past life visions, energies, feelings. The interesting thing for us is that the passions we have in this lifetime, the fears we have in this lifetime, the various conflicts or traumas that we go through in some capacity in our mind, and maybe on a realistic level, but also on a subconscious level, how that impacts our lives, and the importance of us to really pay attention to some of these experiences that come through into the conscious mind. As I said, for you, for example, as I spoke about myself, I had a past life experience that was impeding throughout my life, and I had no idea, this understanding of why I was feeling what I was feeling. These breathing problems, this fear of striped clothing, having spoken German fluently within 5 months, lived in Germany, was married to a German woman, and this desire to go back, despite my connection to World War II, the Holocaust, and all different aspects. And then doing healing work, and then coming into contact with people who said to me, I remember you. And I said, from where? And they told me from World War II, from the concentration camps. So it was very interesting for me to have to go through that experience to understand why some of the present moments that I was experiencing were from another life, and why they somehow passed through the veil of amnesia and came into my conscious level and gave me the opportunity to actually work on things. So it could be, a blessing in disguise, because then we have an opportunity to clear old energies that exist. Yeah. Okay. Journey through heart, mind, body, soul. Yep. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, leave it in the comments. This way I could read it again, and we can comment. Other people later on, when they journey, they'll be able to comment as well. So pay attention to the aspects of yourself that come from a past life. We recognize the historical significance of reincarnation, as I mentioned earlier, being removed from the Orthodox Christian doctrines back in 543 AD by the Roman Emperor Justinian. So there was an impactful thing that people were actually, maybe the church was losing its power over the particular people having maybe their own connection to spirit, or whatever, for whatever reason it might have been. But the interesting thing is that it wasn't there for over 500 years. So it's something to investigate, to look into, and not to just push aside. It's a part of what our soul is, and our soul needs to be heard, needs to be expressed, and in many ways it will be heard eventually, right? All right, I want to thank you for joining me today, and keep an eye out for my interviews that'll be coming up. I'm interviewing Steve Nowak, who's a healer, next week. This week I'm interviewing Mark Peterson, a sound healer, and I have other things lined up. So just wanted to make sure that you have a beautiful day today. And remember, I said it weeks ago, but just to remind you to nurture nature, right? Don't throw stuff out of your car window. Put it in your car, leave it there. When you get home, throw it out. Don't make a mess everywhere you go. Sometimes I drive along the parkway and I see the exits. I see all people's plastic and papers and all the garbage that they probably throw out when they're stuck in traffic. It's no big deal to just take the stuff, leave it in the car, and then when you get home, just put it in a garbage can. At least let it be contained. All right. I want you to have a great day today, and I want to thank you for joining me.